step to the side, please. I'm not the one that I used to be. You look surprised.
Harmonise? Want to harmonise? Let's get it started. Go.
That was the worst harmony of the world. Sorry.
Hello, my name's Aidan Rowlingson. I'm a proud bachelor man from K'gari, Fraser Island, and the Hervey Bay area. Welcome to the Brisbane Writers Festival's Room for Dreaming. I'm here with Kaylah Truth and Garret Lyon on beautiful Yagara and Turrbal country. Kaylah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I go by the name of Kaylah Truth. My family name is Tyson. I'm a Murri woman of the Gurang Nation with ties to the Ngugi people of the Quandamooka region. I've been doing music for about 10 years. I graduated from performing arts school, 10 years ago. So it's been a bit of a journey of, doing a bit of everything. Started out dancing, ended up doing a bit of music. And, as you know, within the arts, we put our hands up for a whole bunch of different things. So it's been amazing to work on stage and also behind stage.
Cool. Garret Lyon,
Yes.
Brisbane's resident thick daddy.
I turned 29 and all of a sudden I'm a daddy. No.
Introduce yourself.
No way. My name's Garret Lyon. I go by Garret Lyon. I'm a Durrumbal man, Woolly Woolly man. So Woolly Woolly is my grandmother's country from Eidsvold, and Durrumbal is Rockhampton, which is my grandfather's country. And my story is almost the exact same as Kaylah's. Like, we met at college, and if you graduated 10 years ago, I probably would have graduated 9 or 8 years ago, and that's how long I've been doing music professionally. But yeah, I went to ACPA to study dance, and I come out a singer. So just as Kaylah said, you just put your hand up to try all different things, and you end up falling in love with something, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah. So you both started singing straight out of school, straight out of ACPA?
I would say while we were there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because as were the rules, you had to do everything while you were there.
Yeah.
So that was, we probably didn't always like it at the time, but it's actually been a blessing because it's given us, the confidence to do a bit of everything once we got into our career. But like Garret was saying, we both started out being dancers, and just having so many creatives around us, we'd end up in the studio at lunchtime and we'd just muck around, and then that would become a part of one of our end of year theatre productions or something like that. And then I guess you just kind of kept that skill with you and kept going with it.
Yeah. And you have worked together pretty much since, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time. We're always working together.
All the time.
But we only have one song, which I don't...
Well, one released song.
We only got one song.
Yeah, we have a lot of unfinished songs, actually.
Actually, yeah, we wrote one here.
Yeah.
Well, we wrote half of one here, yeah.
Yeah.
We do write together, but we don't always,
Finalize
put it out.
it.
Yeah.
Finalize it or put them out. Yeah.
There's not a week that goes by where one of us isn't messaging the other or calling the other, being like, hey, I have this idea, what do you think about this? I often ring Garret and to help with melodies, and he'll ring me to help with lyrics, and
A lot of voice notes get sent to each other, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Garret lost his phone, I had his whole library, thankfully.
So you're
And the songs in
each
our
other's
mind.
backup.
Yeah. I was like, I
drives.
need this song. Can you send me that? Or I need this photo. Can you send me this photo?
That is true friendship right
It
there.
is.
So how would you both describe your writing process? Would you say it's very collaborative, like you mentioned?
I think that it's become more collaborative over the years. I would say that when I was writing, I still like to be like this. I like to be left alone. I can get an idea, or if somebody specifically wants me to write about a certain concept, then I'll take it, brew on it for a few days, and before I even pick up a pen, I am writing in my head for a while, and then once I'm ready to, I'll, get the pen out, write it all down, or if we're in the studio, put it down vocally. But I think we're both quite flexible with our writing process. We're very comfortable with each other, so it's nothing for me to, as much as I like to be alone while I'm creating, I can do it with Garret quite easily.
And we're not afraid to tell each other the truth.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if that rap line isn't working, I'll say I don't like it.
Yeah. And if he's doing something, I'll just be like, He's like, okay, I'll
That
change
line's
it.
debatable. Yeah.
But
So
it's really good to have
it's
that.
good to have someone else there, because sometimes you think you write the deadliest song and turns out nobody likes it.
Yeah.
Because writing is very therapeutic, and you write stuff for yourself, but not everyone's going to connect with it.
Yeah, and it's great to collaborate with people. You can vibe off each other, but it's hard to find someone that you're on the same vibe with all the time. So we've been lucky to have each other there for that.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a really unique working relationship. But that being said, you said you have one release song together, which is, remind me?
Replaced.
Yes. Replaced. But you also have 2 separate careers of your own, and 2 very different styles. I've looked through both your works, and I was kind of talking to people about you, and I was like, Kaylah Truth, how do I describe her work? You get the feeling of cruising around in your car with your friends, and you're on the way to a protest or a rally or something like that. That's the vibe I get from your music. And then I was talking about Garret, and I was saying, Garret, it's like a Disney song. What? I imagine
his new
Garret's-
favourite person.
I imagine Garret like singing the Disney song of like where the 2 romance characters of the movie kind of finally come back together, kind of thing.
I'm into that.
And they
That's probably how it all started, because I love Disney.
Right.
So that's probably, and I didn't even know that.
Right. Did you grow up on Disney or?
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Disney raised
I'm
him.
still up on Disney.
Like the old Disney. Ooh.
Yeah, like the classic Disney.
Yeah.
Like I steal his Lion King boxes and stuff like that.
Oh,
He's
yeah, you
very
still
much
got those.
They might now.
Forgot about those.
So something we are missing right now is the live aspect of art. And Garret, I've been lucky enough to see you perform a number of times. You're a phenomenal performer.
Thank you.
So tell me what makes performing live special to you, and how does it affect the way that you write? Do you write with live performance in mind?
No, I never really write with live performance in mind. When I write, it is very much just something will pop in my head, or I do need to get something off my chest, but it's always for me first. And I guess I think what makes performing live so special is the audience. Like every single time, without a doubt, it's got nothing to do with like them praising or cheering you, but you have the chance to change someone's life. You have the chance to, I remember I performed a brand new song that I wrote, and I was really scared to perform it, but because it was a very personal song, and someone came up to me afterwards saying, everything you sung about is how I'm feeling, but I couldn't put it into words. And that was the moment I was like, wow, I'm actually doing something that, affects people. And so that was pretty special. So now that's always in my, like, when I choose the songs that I'm going to perform, I try and think about how the audience will kind of react to it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, a moment like that really reminds you of the impact and power that your work can have.
Yeah, well, because it's always just been, I always just thought I was just a boy who writes rhymes, but the fact that it can actually be songs and people can take something away from that, like really, made my heart explode. Which is probably why I don't have one anymore.
Kaylah, you once said in an interview with Reconciliation Australia that it is hard to find the balance between conscious hip-hop and commercial hip-hop. But looking at your canon of work, I think most people would say that you are an artist that finds the balance in both. So tell me what conscious hip-hop is to you and what effect you hope your words have.
Conscious hip-hop, I think in the way that it is referred to within the culture is something or lyrics that are really saying something. It's often a bit of a political stance, or it's thought-provoking. I guess it wouldn't necessarily be, you know, like your party track, the one that you go out, you have drinks to, or even something that's like a love song. I guess it wouldn't necessarily be referred to as conscious, you know what I mean? And I think in retrospect, that me saying that in the interview, I think what I meant by that is it's hard to please the audience, because some of your audience, you know, if they've heard you do conscious music before, then they want that and they expect that of you, because you know, as Garret was saying, you might be able to find a way to put into words what they're feeling, and they haven't yet found a way to do that. So it's a compliment. Like, they want to keep hearing that, you know. And then on the other side of that, there's a lot of people that, you know, just want to listen to music and feel like they're having a really good time, and they want to get up and dance, and, you know. So I think for me as an artist, as I grew more, I realized that it is completely normal and human to have these things coexist at the same time within us, you know. You don't have to be all this way or all the other. I am a Black woman in Australia who is in the LGBT community. I am also, you know, in my early 30s now. I have a group of girls and we love to get dressed up and go out and dance, and I'm an auntie, like I have all the kids around me, you know. So there's like all these different facets of us as human beings, and I think that expecting an artist to only put out like one line of work really isn't being true to who they are as humans. So it's important for me to bring all those different sides of me and put it out there and be like, this is who I am. And maybe you haven't met this side of me yet, but hey, this is another side of Kaylah.
Yeah. I think looking at both your works, a question comes to mind, and that question is, who hurt you?
Are you talking to Garret? Now you're talking to me.
I made a list because I forgot all their names.
I know their names.
I don't know. Erase their memories.
You can really feel that you both write with a strong sense of yourselves, a strong sense of who you are. And listening to your discography, it's clear that both of you write from different places. So tell me about what it means to write your own story.
Me? What it means to write my own story. The only stuff I actually really write about is love. Because that's all I really know. Same time, I haven't really ever been in a proper relationship, hey. That's probably why they're all sad, depressing songs. I used to get called the Black Taylor Swift at college because I was just writing depressing songs all the time.
They're beautiful songs, Garret.
Okay. But yeah, no, just, I've just lost it, my bad.
I don't think that your work, I don't think looking at your work, from what I've seen of it, I don't think that it is like strictly sad. I definitely feel that there is this sense of hope, of yearning as well. Like I think there's definitely that positive, really feel good vibe to it. Whether that, you know, comes from almost maybe sometimes separating the words with the tempo and the upbeatness of it. You know, like I think you definitely have some songs that speak to the full range of maybe what you're going through at that time.
Yeah, I actually have started writing more stuff that isn't there, because I'm just so used to writing with an acoustic guitar all the time. That's how I do all my writing, and I suppose that's why a lot of the songs were those kind of sad, kind of love songs. But the stuff that I'm doing now is very different, and it is very more party, more vibey kind of stuff. And it's actually because my grandma told me, she's like, I showed her, I think my most recent song that I wrote, Little Things. I sent it to her thinking she was going to praise me because she's like my biggest fan. And she straight up just said, look, you know I love all your songs, but I just wish you would stop being so sad and apologising for the way that you love. And that was just like, boom.
Okay.
And then the next song that come out, I was just like, boy, you just keep on beeping up my vibe. And now all of the songs I write are just me not apologising anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Same time, I was just talking about how I would say I apologise all the time because I'm a Libra.
That's such a...
Both of our
That's such a
grandmothers
powerful moment.
are very influential in what we do with our art. Not that they like are there all the time and always having something to say, but we both take our stuff to our grandmothers and they might only say like one word or one sentence, but it's enough.
Sometimes that's all you need. Really.
Sometimes if it's just the one word, I'm just like, okay, I'll go write something else.
But I suppose even along those lines, like both of you are fitting huge ideas, whether it be about something social, political, something, wearing your heart on your sleeve. Like, I think it's very difficult to fit those huge ideas and those huge stories into the space of 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
100%,
definitely.
yeah.
I wrote a song called Scars a few years ago. That's your favourite, isn't it? I wrote it, I think it goes for like 5.5 minutes or something. It's just me and piano. It's real slow, but it's about my, oops, hope he doesn't watch this. It's about my father leaving my mother. So it wasn't necessarily leaving me, but he left my mother, and it was about that. And I had to try and fit the whole story of that day, the months after, and how I feel now into that song. And I remember the piano teacher who was helping me, he was like, oh, you know, if you're going to record this and you want to release it, I think you should cut it down to 3 minutes. And I said, but that's the story. Like, I can't cut it down because then it just wouldn't make sense in my own head. So, yeah.
Right, so how long is the song?
I think it's like close to 5 minutes or just over 5 minutes.
So fairly long for a song. Yeah,
Which
really.
before, like we were writing for radio, that was a normal length of the song anyway.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But now the stuff that I'm writing, like, it's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because
radio.
of the whole,
But yeah, I think it's important that, with the telling our story thing, I think everything that we're writing all comes down to our relationship with something, someone, whether it is an intimate relationship or with our parents, or whether it's our relationship with history, our relationship with, like whatever, whatever it is. It's all, for me, it's all about relationships, and all we can do honestly is just tell our side of the story. Of course, there's another side out there.
Yeah.
But this is ours.
and this is the way we tell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe it's something along the lines of your relationship with yourself and how it is in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again is just huge to fit into such a small space. But Garret,
Yo.
you have brought other people's writing to life in the form of musical theatre.
I was like, have I?
Some notable productions are Aladdin, which I think you did overseas, and The Wiz, which I saw you in at QPAC, which is The Cowardly Lion, and you were fantastic.
Thank you.
Tell me your process of bringing those characters to life and telling those stories.
Doing all of the kind of theatre acting stuff I've done has always been by mistake, because I never say that I'm an actor, but it's always just happened accidentally, which is a blessing. I was on holidays from living in Melbourne here, and I was thinking if I wanted to stay here, and just as I was about to book my flight, I got a message from a teacher at ACPA who has seen me perform, and he was like, "Oh, we're doing The Wiz, and we've had 3 students, I think, leave the character, like they just don't come up to rehearsals. So would you be willing to come in? I think it would be cool to have an old student come in, an alumni." And like that was just the sign that I was looking for. I was like, yeah, sure. And then he told me, he's like, oh, we would like you to play the Cowardly Lion. I was like, ugh. I was hoping he was going to say Scarecrow. I've always wanted to be the Scarecrow. I was like, why the lion? And like my last name's Lyon, so there's just so many jokes in there already. But like I rocked up day one, fell in love with the students. It was just really nice to go back, not to the same building, but just to be in the same environment and seeing all these young up and coming black fellas. And I went in there thinking, no, I'm gonna be real professional, and because I've been in the industry for a while, and they'll be wanting me to be professional. But I just went back into being a student, and I was just mucking around with the kids. They were deadly. The students. But I went in and I was just kind of reading the script because I immediately was like, how am I going to play the Cowardly Lion? I don't want to be this scared person on stage. And I was kind of reading it and I was kind of ad-libbing stuff because I was saying things out loud, and everyone was laughing. And I was like, oh, I'm just reading this character as myself. So I just played him as a super camp person that's really proud of his image, but yeah, his insecurities, which is me. So I wasn't even really acting. It's just me. And with Aladdin, I've been rehearsing for that role since I was 2 years old.
Yes.
So I just went there and did the damn thing.
It was about time.
And
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to play Jasmine, but yeah. No, but Aladdin was pretty special. It was a dream come true.
right. Yeah. So I know you say you're not an actor, but you fall into acting. So yeah, that must be a really.
I don't agree with you. I'm not an actor.
Well,
He's been
yeah.
acting for a long time.
I suppose, and you did
Yeah, I
say
was
that you went to
acting straight
ACBO and
for
you were
17
forced to
years.
do all the classes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm not
and
a
he had
trained
lead
actor.
roles when we were there.
Oh,
as well.
yeah, okay. Well, maybe technically I am a trained actor. Well, dang. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I'll say I'm an actor from now on.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first.
Thank you.
Kaylah, a big part of your work is music videos. You have a lot. You have a fair bit.
Oh, I don't
out
think I have
there.
enough, but thank you.
I thought so. How does putting a visual to your sound continue to create your narrative? And how do you go about utilizing visuals for storytelling?
I would say that music videos have been such a huge part of my life. And it really comes from like 6-7-year-old Kaylah that's still inside of me watching, like Salt and Pepper and TLC. And I just knew like from back then, like I want to do this. And like, to be honest, it was never about, I want to be in the studio and I want to do write and everything. It was like, I want to make music videos. So like, I am not a morning person, am I?
No, we're both not.
But when it was like time for Rage, like I was up early on the weekend and I would have my video and I would record like I probably recorded like the same music videos like 3 times over, but I would watch them back and I didn't even know, but I was studying it and like I knew the choreography, I knew like all the different lightings, the different shots. And yeah, like I didn't have words for it back then, but I just knew that like it was in there. So when I got the opportunity to do that for myself, I guess I just got to the point where I was like, why did it take me so long to do this? But as an independent artist, I fund everything that I do. So it's a big job. And, just to put one single out, like there's so many steps to it. But the music video part of it is definitely my favorite. And I think that, everyone relates to different mediums of the craft. Of course, we all listen to music and some people grab hold of sound more than others. But if there is sound there and then you're also watching something, it just adds another layer to the story. Like how many times have you listened to a song and made up your own version of the video clip in your head? And then when you go and watch the music video, you're like, oh, that's not how I saw it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But that's not a bad thing. It just means that we're all capable of like creating like a visual in our mind to a song.
Yeah.
So
I in uni actually a part of my film class I chose to specialize in music video theory. And I was watching yours and I just thought like the professionalism of those videos and how it suits the genre or strongly goes against the genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really saw that there was such like a clear vision And yeah, so it's really interesting.
I appreciate that. There were a couple that... No, but we've had different processes for like different videos. So when I put my first one out, Oh Diva Me, there was so
Which
much
is a
that went
bop.
into that.
I still jam
So
to
much
that.
went into that. Like it was my first one, so I wanted to do it, the best that I possibly could. I spent way too much money on it, and it is what it is.
But it
it's
turned
made
out
me money
deadly,
back.
didn't it?
Yeah.
And like OD for me is a lot of people's favorites.
Especially in our community, yes.
So, do you think that some of that notoriety came from the music video? Because I'm a very visual person, and very much like I can like a song, but until I see the artist's visual interpretation of the song, that's when I really kind of like grab onto it and go, I must listen to this 3,000 times.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's really about what I want the audience to focus on. Like and this isn't the only way to do it, but just as an example, I could have put Oh Diva Me out there just as a song, but compared to some of my earlier works that were, classed as conscious hip hop, and I was saying a lot in it, I felt like Oh Diva Me was the opposite of that. I went in, minimal sleep. I kind of just freestyled the song in the studio, which is the first time I've ever done that. And yeah, it was just a huge contrast. So putting a really fun, bright music video to it, I think that 100% like pushed it a lot further. You know what I mean? Whereas there's other songs that I've got that I really want you to listen to what I'm saying. So the priority might not be like making the visuals so flashy, because I want you to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, I suppose it in such a big industry where there is new work coming out like constantly, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of noise. It's, I suppose, hard to have your voice heard. How have you, both of you, defined your own path in an industry that doesn't often cater for diverse experiences?
I think that when we were both starting out, especially in the Brisbane scene, it's not like there weren't any black fellas doing their thing. There have been a lot that have paved the way before us. But specifically, both of us, as much as I rap, we both love pop music. For me, and I've said this a million times in interviews, like I grew up on Spice Girls and all that, and we now have sister girl Jessica Mauboy that's very much up there in that path, but before her, there wasn't anyone doing it that looked like us here in this country. So I think it actually gave us room to try new things. And yeah, I'm not really sure that, and like I can't really fully speak, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that it affected us too much. We knew that there wasn't a lot of diversity out there, but we were used to it, you know? So like we didn't do stuff for people specifically. Of course, we, would love to break down barriers, but when we're creating, like that's not always at the forefront of, what, like we want our outcome to be. But being able to get up on stage and, for myself, share a stage with some of my idols that I grew up watching, and knowing that I'm definitely like the first black woman here, like Aboriginal woman, to do that, the importance of that doesn't go over my head. For me, it's so important, like, to be that sister girl on stage, because I know there's other younger ones out there, or maybe not even younger, like there's other sister girls out there that will look at me and be like, oh, she looks like me. She comes from the same place as me, or like she's singing about things that I can relate to. And that's important for me because I didn't have that growing up here. I very, like, obviously hip hop comes from African American culture. It's it's just, I love it so much, but I know that it doesn't come from my people, you know what I mean? But growing up here, their mob were the only blackfellas that we saw on TV.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and that's why I love music videos. And for like R&B and hip hop, we saw, you know, men and women who looked like our mums and our uncles and our aunties, and that was the closest thing we got to representation here. And specifically, it's not like a song, but Queen Latifah, she's obviously a big role model for me. And then her being in Set It Off, playing a queer character, like that's the first time in my life that I ever saw a queer black woman on screen. So I was very much looking to that community across the seas for, you know, like a glimpse of representation. So yeah, I know that we definitely didn't have the diversity that we would have liked when we were starting out, but hopefully we can be the ones who will change that. And just, I don't like to call myself a role model, but to be that image.
Well,
that
like you
people can
said,
see.
sometimes it's just as powerful to just live your truth and to just keep doing you and being yourself like you've kind of already said, in all facets. Is such an important thing to do when you have people looking up to you. What are you working on now? What can we expect from you next, from both of you? Anything? What's happening?
Want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Give us some clues.
She just tapped my knee. I think that's clue for you, go Garret. I am currently, I've been, again, accidentally cast in this musical called Absolute Objectivity, and it's a deadly show. Samson Smith and Jeremy Neal wrote it, and I'm very honoured and blessed to be a part of that. And this is the first time that I'm playing a character that I've consciously decided to make non-binary, because my character is the internet, but I'm in a human form. So it's really interesting playing that character and learning these new songs. Apart from theatre, I'm just trying to do as much live gigs as I can. Before COVID hit, I was doing a lot of recording with a producer in Sydney, DJ Sefru, who I'm a huge fan of, and I'm pinch myself that I'm still working for him, because he's one of those producers that has, are they called tags? When the producers, like DJ Mustard does like DJ Sefru says, Sefru this shit bang at the start of every song. And like I would listen to those songs, I'm like, cool. And then to hear that on my own song is like, yeah, a bit of a spin out.
Wow.
He's constantly sending me beats, and I'm constantly writing new stuff to it. And I'm just waiting for COVID to kind of calm down a little bit more, and then I'll be probably flying to Sydney to record some and hopefully do an EP, which I'm really excited about, because it's, all new stuff and can't wait to get it out. I've been waiting to get it out, eh? I keep sending all these Snapchats of me like listening to my own song, be like, I want to release it. And everyone's just like, well, then release it already. So yeah, it'll be good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's exciting.
It is. No, I'm super excited.
That was a full spiel.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's so exciting.
I'm very excited for it.
Myself, music hasn't been my focus lately. I've started studying, so I'm putting my writing skills into essays, which is totally different. But yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm also involved in the Titters creative development that's happening at the moment. So I'm having a lot of fun being able to read for a character of the once book now being turned into a play. So yeah, that's cool. And then I'm also an ambassador for Queen Mode, which is a collective that likes to shine a spotlight on women of colour. Everything that I do is, it all kind of entwines, crosses over. So for me, I'm out there and involved in a few is still in the music world, but not necessarily as releasing my own stuff at the moment. But I had the opportunity to be a judge for the Queensland Music Awards, and that was really cool. And there's a few similar things coming through like that. So still in the scene, but in a different way, and it's exciting. And yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm here with Garret Lyon and Kaylah Truth. It's been an honour. I really hope you enjoyed the questions.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening.
You made a mistake, so don't be mad that you've been replaced. Hey.
Do you remember when you laughed at my goals? Look at me now, you see my dreams have evolved as they strategically start to unfold. I will laugh last, let the truth now be told.